You
I
should get a fire hat so that when you're doing that, you just put that on and we know better than to even, try to interfere. It's like she's putting out a fire. Give her a moment.
another one.
We'll get you a
Fire of the
Santa hat
day.
or something.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Barb's putting out the fire. All right. Then I'll count us down. We'll go in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority. Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always, I mean, always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or go ahead and search for it on podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of the largest assets people have, their home. Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, I'm always excited about doing this show because it's really fun for me, and I'm very grateful for the people that do tell me they listen. And today I wanted to talk about right now what's going on in the market and who actually has the advantage in negotiations on the sale of a house. You'd kind of be surprised on what you hear. The second topic is what should a home seller do if a house is not selling and how you can fix it. And I will say that I get a lot of these calls now because people have their house sitting on the market, it's not moving, not showing. And I do feel like maybe you can tell me, Richard, there's a little bit of uncertainty in the market right now, principally because of the government shutdown, right? So
Right.
there's got to be a ton of government workers here in town that are, if they were thinking of buying a house, maybe they're like, well, maybe we should wait until we get this thing sorted out. What do you think?
Probably true, but I think the key here, and I know that you and I've known each other for a long time, but I think the key here is to continue listening for the remainder of this show and to stay tuned week after week because you will explain to people whether it's a government shutdown or just the economy slowing, whatever it is. You walked us through COVID, you walked us through all kinds of things. So I'm listening to the woman who is going to give the best advice on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I have been doing this a long time since 96 was when I started. So, and I've seen all kinds of stuff in the market. I mean, back then, I think when I first started, the rates were at 8.5 to 9%, and people were happy that they went down to 7. Right now, they're at 6.2 for conventional and under 6 for VA and FHA. And so I don't know why people aren't happy, except that a few years ago, we were seeing 3% interest rates, which drove the prices up. And now the payments are unaffordable. So for buyers, it's all about payments. And sellers are kind of surprised when they look backwards on historic sales and go, well, my house is like that. How come it's not selling? So that's one of the topics we're going to be covering is how do you prepare to get your home ready for sale? And then the third topic is really if your house is not selling, what can you do to correct it? I work with some professional sellers, and I will tell you on a regular basis, they are making price adjustments if the home is not selling. Now, it could be two problems. It could be pricing and it could be marketing. Sometimes it's just a marketing problem. So you really need somebody that's experienced to identify which problem it is and make sure you correct it as soon as possible. And very last topic, I love talking about our cash offer platform. I have more and more home sellers taking advantage of this because it's kind of like the easy button for selling houses. Very similar to the way Carmax sells homes. You get an online bid, then they confirm it, then they finalize the offer. And then a few weeks later, boom, you get your check. So we're going to talk about how that works and what are some examples and what would be the benefits or risks of doing something like that, Richard?
We're heading into that holiday selling season. The Fed seems uncertain about lowering interest rates even a little bit more while demand is lower than last year. What kind of market are we in right now, Barb? A buyer's market where the buyer has the advantage or a seller's market?
Well, it just depends. And I don't know that people should worry too much about what the Fed is doing, because sometimes when the Fed adjusts the rates down, we've seen mortgage rates go up. So there's no rhyme or reason to it as far as Fed behavior. I would just focus on just the basics of economic principles, supply and demand. Right now, we have higher supply and lower demand because the buyers are a little bit reluctant to make offers if they can't afford the payment. I met with a buyer just about a week ago, and we were trying to calculate roughly what he would qualify for in house payment. And he goes, well, I don't want to go that high, and I get it. So we have to figure out what is that payment amount that he'd be comfortable with, and that would translate to sales price. In general, the mortgage rates have been very, very stable in the past couple of months. However, some of the things I read this morning indicate that we're currently at a 52-week, the second lowest rate that we've been at in a whole year. So if you are thinking of buying, I would not wait around for prices to drop or rates to drop even more. Many of these lenders will offer a refinance program where you can make adjustments to your make a refinance. They call it rate and term refi. And some of the lenders don't even require an appraisal, where you can get that lower rate right away. Because in general, the buyers are searching based on house payment and what they can afford. And they look at everything. The thing that's kind of exciting to me is when you talk to buyers, they know everything there is to know about that type of home. They know the price range, they know what's available, they know whether or not it's overpriced. I think they know more than a lot of real estate agents do, because they're looking for a certain area and a certain price range of home. So they can see a good buy from a mile away. And that's why it's always good to be priced what I call realistically versus optimistically when you sell your house. That will definitely speed up the sales process. The people that push too hard on price, the market's going to tell you right away. You'll get light showings, very few offers, that kind of thing. And the one big surprise to me, when I look at the data, and this is pretty true for most of the counties up and along the Front Range, is that the prices have dropped anywhere from 20 to 30,000 since its peak in July. So that tells me, and that is the median list price, the asking price, that tells me that more and more sellers are reducing their price, and there's more larger, lower priced homes on the market than there were even in this past July. The other thing I've seen happen is the average days on market. What that stands for is from the day it goes on the market to the day the seller accepts a contract. That's considered average days on market. That has gone up very steadily too in the last 3 months. It went from 77 days to 97 days, and that's in El Paso County. So who has the negotiating advantage? I would say it's leaning buyer, but it's still seller. It really depends on where you price it. Another leading indicator that gives you kind of a good idea of what's going on is how do you compare price against pending sales? Like how many buyers are going, I'll take it, and they go under contract for a house. Now, what we've seen in the past couple of months, really since August, is a drop in pending sales. Some of that is seasonality, meaning, not as many buyers in the fall as we would get in the summer. But overall, if you look back to 2023, the numbers are fairly close. It's just that there's more homes on the market to compete with. And that's why it's taking longer to sell. At the end of the day, the best way to position a home if you're selling right now is to be the best home at the best price. And that's the way you get top dollar. Buyers are very well versed at what's out there, and they were looking for it. And it was funny, we held an open house last weekend, and I remember talking to this young couple, and they had very specific parameters. They have a brand new darling baby boy, and they were looking for a certain type of house that was on a quiet street, that was at a reasonable price that they could afford. They weren't too picky as far as condition of the home, but they were picky about getting a nice, safe location for their baby that was big enough for them. So it was kind of good to see that they'd really studied the market and they knew what was going on. Rates again are 1% high, less than they were a year ago and less than the high a year ago. So that's a good thing. But in general, there's fewer buyers to compete with as compared to the inventory. So if you go back to 2023, there were maybe about 2,000 homes on the market. This year, this summer, we had 4,000 homes on the market. So, but we're getting the same number of sales. So that would tell me that over time, it's going to drive the prices down just a little bit. Same thing for Douglas County, very similar for Pueblo County. But at the end of the day, if you hire somebody that really understands the market, they can help you position the home to win in a relatively short period of time. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we're talking about who has the negotiating advantage right now in homes for sale today. And when we come back, we're going to touch on what sellers should expect to see and what they need to do in this current market condition. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing who has the advantage in negotiations of homes that are for sale today. Do the buyers or the sellers have that advantage in the current market?
Well, I think, all of the little gauges that I'm looking at on the statistical data providers are indicating that it's leaning more towards a buyer's market, which means many buyers are coming in either asking for a lower price or asking for the seller to help with their closing cost. But it's really, really important that you rely on the expertise of an agent. You don't want an agent just showing up and going, here's similar sales, go, right? You want somebody that educates you on what's going on in the market right now. What are your current competing competition? Like as an example, I was in a neighborhood yesterday driving around and I missed my turn, which was a good thing because when I went around the corner, I'm like, oh, no wonder this home is sitting on the market because around the corner, there's brand new homes that are priced very similar and the buyers are opting for that. Whereas this home was built 30 years ago and the floor is a little wonky and, buyers are just picking the best home that they can get at their price. But you need an experienced agent that knows how to negotiate and understands your current competition. Typical questions I get when a buyer brings an offer is, do you have any other offers? And when do the sellers want to move? So have that date and time and plan in your mind. Just so you know, the way the state contracts are structured, the buyer has a dozen opportunities to bail out of the contract, no harm, no foul, and get their earnest money back. Okay. So if a seller is agreeing to sell their house, they're telling the world that it has a contract, which creates demand destruction. I don't do that for my sellers. I keep it on the market till the very end. And then there's only a small window towards the end of the contract process where the deal is firm. Okay. And during that small window towards the end of the process, you got to move, right? So all of these things have to be factored in, and you really don't want to be surprised come closing day. So what should home sellers do? They need to prepare their home in order to command the highest price. A lot of people think if I put money into it, I should get that money out. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Buyers actually expect sellers to maintain their homes because they don't want to take on any problems. And hire the agent that actually can help you prepare for sale. The market's going to tell you if we got it wrong. You can tell by the number of showings, by the number of offers, all that kind of stuff. And we can help you do that. So all you need to do is give us a call at 719-301-3900. I have over 28,320 buyers in waiting just on my little website. And typically I can match at least 1,000 buyers to any home through the marketing that I'm doing. So call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how you should prepare the home before you sell it. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss that. There we are, picking them up and laying them down. I don't even like that saying. In fact, I hate that saying, but it seems like I use it every week, don't I?
What's that?
Picking them up and laying them down. It's funny what sticks in your mind. I'm like, I honestly, this right here is the only time I've ever used that expression at all. I've been at track meets when my kids were running, and I never turned to somebody and said, "Aren't they picking them up and laying them down?" I did learn one thing while David's getting this.
He said that while building a wall.
Oh, really?
It's the only time I've
Like a
used that
brick or
phrase.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Bricklaying was actually what I was doing.
Yeah.
Those concrete like, forms.
He's a Renaissance man. He's also a bricklayer. Holy cow.
Who's that?
Not on purpose.
That's David, apparently. I didn't know that.
Bricklayer.
I was just building a retaining wall.
With bricks?
Yeah,
Wow, that's hard work.
it is. I don't recommend it to a friend.
All right.
You look good, though.
Ready for segment number 2.
Yep.
Let me get my clock in order here. All right. I am good to go. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. I'm Richard Randall, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most people are very concerned about preparing their home for sale. Many want to know the steps to take to make the most amount of money. So, Barb Schlinker, what are some key things that home sellers need to do to get their home ready for sale?
Well, I would say you'd start with picking a good strategy because not everybody sells their home the same way. There's plenty of people that I meet with that don't want to do the traditional sales process. It's no fun having strangers come through your house and judging your home. You should see the crazy feedback I get sometimes. Sometimes I swear the agent got one house mixed up with another and gave feedback for a different home. So it's really frustrating for home sellers because they get everything ready and they're really hoping and praying that the buyer that shows up is already loves the pictures, and then they just want to make an offer and they get disappointed over some stupid thing like, oh, it's too small, or I didn't like the backyard, or didn't have this, or didn't have that, And I don't know if sometimes, I think I was guilty of doing this when I was younger in the business, where I would just give a reason just to get the request for feedback out of my hair. But the sellers absolutely pay attention to what you're saying. They know who is showing their house, right? So if I was a real estate agent, I would want my reputation to be good and to give these customers, even the sellers, which is not my client, some good feedback on, is there anything that they can do to make the home improve better? Maybe they think the price is too high. Maybe they don't like the layout of something, right? I don't know. But typically the best feedback is something that's very constructive that you can use, like, well, they didn't like that, there was a smell of cooking food or something like that. So what we're talking about is preparing your home for sale. It's not the same way as you live in the house. You have to make it very austere. You have to put stuff away. You have to make it look like a model home, which very few people live like that. And if you decide to sell the home as is, that means you're going to have to really price it very aggressively. And a really good agent can help you do that. So if you do that, that's fine. But if you're trying to get full market value, you need to make sure that you've prepared the home properly, that you've priced it right, and it's properly promoted. Now, most people, according to the National Association of Realtors, pick their real estate agent based on somebody they know, or sometimes somebody they've been referred to. Many of them only talk to one agent, and they don't really know how to judge whether or not an agent is somebody that's a good fit to handle their largest asset. What is that criteria? Many of them don't have any. It's like, well, I just liked her. She was a nice person, or I worked with her before. Okay, that's fine. So it's not a bad idea to have some predetermined criteria, because you wouldn't believe how many home sellers that I hear from that have been on the market because they picked another agent, and then they're calling me back a couple months later, or they're calling me for the first time a couple months later and saying, this isn't working, we need to make a change. So you need to have some criteria about what you're gonna ask the agent to handle one of your largest assets. So what is the selling strategy? With us, we show up with a half dozen cash offers. So you could never deal with the showing and take a cash offer and move on. I have many, many home sellers opting for just that. Or maybe you want to sell the home as is. We've sold a couple of homes like that where we never went on the market. We tapped into our list of buyers in waiting, and our buyers jumped on it and they got a good deal on the house, and the seller was happy as well. Or you could go for the full retail sale, which is making the house look as pretty as you can, or you can sell it empty. I don't prefer that, because vacant homes, especially if they're marketed as vacant homes, aren't as attractive. I mean, buyers buy on emotion. So you have to find ways to get the buyers to visualize themselves in the home. That's why we deploy marketing techniques like virtual staging to make the buyer want to come see the home. Your first showing when you put a home online is the online presentation. In other words, buyers are making a decision whether or not they're going to leave their fuzzy bunny slippers, get in their car, and burn their gas to come look at your house based on the online presentation. So if you don't get it right and they don't come, that's a problem. Either the price is too high or the marketing is wrong. So some basic tips are: make sure you clean as best you can. Even little things like the tracks in the sliding door, clean, clean, clean. Be crazy about cleaning. Pick up most of your throw rugs, especially for photo day. You want to, a lot of people ask me, should I take down all of my personal pictures? And I don't think it's really necessary. It's okay to have a few family pictures, but you don't want it to be the main feature of the room. Like I've had a few where they had the whole family portrait, big monster portrait, over the fireplace. That's a little much. Or I've seen people that will cover entire walls with their life story. That is distracting. You're going to move anyway. You just want to take it down. And a good rule of thumb is, if a wall has a window, it doesn't need pictures, but maybe the next wall does, right? And just something simple, decorative, and neutral. Another thing, door hardware. So this is one of those things that kind of bugs me. And it happens in our house, just the normal process of people touching door handles or touching light fixtures, outlet fixtures, that kind of thing. The dirt builds up on that. Make sure those are squeaky clean. Odors are a big deal as well. So a lot of people think, well, if I put my lovely candles, if I burn them, people are going to really like the smell, and they might. However, the immediate assumption with most buyers, especially if it's very strong, is that you're covering something up. Most homes don't have an odor, right? So you want to don't use fragrances to cover them up. I would address the odor issues, make sure the trash is taken out, make sure the windows are clean, the screens are in good condition, the light fixtures are clean, especially things like ceiling fan. I've been in houses where the top of the blades of the ceiling fans have like a 1/4 inch to 1 inch of dust, and that is just gross. So don't do that. Make sure everything off the counters and tabletops is put away. Remove the magnets from the refrigerator, and that's just the basics in general. And if you want to find out about what questions you should ask before you hire an agent, you can go to my website. I'm Barb Schlinker. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on the green button that says free reports. There's a great report called 10 questions to ask before you hire an agent, or you can just call us and ask for it at 719-301-3900. Richard?
Listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb's the host of the program, and you can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Now, Barb, we're talking about the top 15 tips to sell your home for top dollar. What are the rest of those tips?
Well, one of them is that you want, when you're showing, to really let the light in. Open up the curtains, open up the blinds as best you can. Light and bright is your friend when you're showing a home. And a lot of people have really heavy drapery. That's very unattractive. You're better off taking that down and just putting up some inexpensive shears that you can get from Walmart. Make sure all the lights are on, and lighten up the bedding. The heavy dark bedding doesn't look very attractive either. Also remove excess furniture and clutter. So it's hard for people to judge if they live in the home if they have that. But the best way to do it is take your smartphone, take a picture, and do it horizontally. Blow that picture up on your computer so you can see if it looks cluttered to you on the computer or even on your phone. A lot of people live with it and they don't see it, right? But if you see it on a picture, it really jumps out at you. And consider staging. That's one of the things that we include as we have an interior designer come out and look at your home and give you tips on what to do to prepare your home for photo day. That's a really great thing. And the other thing that you want to do is make sure that you price it what I call very realistically versus optimistically. The buyers know the market very, very well, and pricing it. A lot of people will ask me, well, why can't I just raise the price for negotiating room? The problem is that little price adjustment in the mind of the buyer is enough to repel the buyer to even want to come and see the house. So you want to price it close to the number of what you would accept, essentially. And that's a good way to make it happen. And we've helped a lot of home sellers do it. We recently helped Josh and Amy do it. They priced their home very realistically. We had a huge crowd at the open house, and they ended up getting $10,000 over asking. So a lot of agents don't research a lot of this. But in general, most agents will meet the buyer for the first time at the house. So they don't know if the buyer qualifies sometimes. They also don't know what the buyer's looking for. So just be prepared for surprises when showings take place, right? Because not every buyer, not every agent is trained or prepared to actually really help the buyer find the right home. They're just, many times they're using the opportunity to show a home as a way to meet a new buyer and hope and pray they buy something, right? Which is very frustrating for sellers, because home sellers are thinking every showing that's going on, that buyer really wants our house. And if you want a quick sale, we can help you. We can show up with multiple cash offers on your home, and that might work for you. Definitely want to hire an agent that has a team and an agent that knows the market, that has a history of selling. I will tell you that it was a big surprise to me this summer when we went to our conference. Zillow came to speak, and they told us that 71% of area agents didn't sell any homes at all in 2024. And that's sad to me. I think there's enough business to go around, but the problem is the industry is just weak on showing agents how to get business. Most of them tell them to go out and knock on doors. Now, Richard, would you answer the door if somebody knocked on your door?
No, period. That's the end of it. No, I just would not.
Yeah, if you're not expecting somebody, they're not going to answer the door, and they certainly don't answer the phone. Even people my age are like screening at the phone going, I don't know their number. I'm not going to pick up. So It's really, really important that I wish, the industry was better at teaching agents on how to be successful. They're not. But we have a system where we definitely do it for our team. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. You can get those free reports on barbhasthebuyers.com by clicking the green button, or call us 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. If you're thinking of selling your home and you want to get the most amount of money when you sell, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we'll be covering what should you do if your house is not selling and what can you do to fix that problem. Stay tuned for that.
This is a terrible title, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, some of this stuff, I have to give you credit because some of this stuff, if I were sitting there and I had to, create the script or modify a script or do any of these things, I got to tell you what, I wouldn't be very good at it. Let me get something off the front.
Thursday.
All right.
Everything okay, Barb?
Oh, sorry. I get really sucked into the phone,
Well, we all
as
do.
we all do.
It is multitasking, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Then I'm good for the next. He just had to get something else started here. I'm good for the next segment. Are you good, Barb?
Yep, I'm ready.
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with more homes on the market, there'll be some homes that are simply not selling. What are the reasons that they're not selling, and what can be done about that?
Well, Richard, I think really it's what I call the 4 Ps, right? Preparation, so having the house prepared for sale, pricing it right. That's one of the more critical factors. I've seen home sellers that didn't do any preparation for sale, but because they priced it right, they were able to get it sold. Promoting it, so you want to make sure your marketing is good, and of course, picking the right team to help you sell the house. Now, the ones that sell their homes as is, the buyers can see that it's priced below similar sales around them, and they understand that, right? So, but in general, there's quite a few buyers, according to the National Association of Realtors, 40% of the home buyers out there have no interest in taking a look at a home that needs work. And there's a reason for that. They have to set aside money to do whatever repair. So unless it's a really good bargain, unless they can get into a neighborhood where they couldn't otherwise buy in that price range or that size, they're just not going to show up and not going to make an offer. Now, pending sales are actually up just a little bit more than probably they were same time last year, according to this data. And so that's a good sign because the rates have come down a little bit. At the same time, the rates are low sixes and right around 6.23 conventional and just over 6 for VA and FHA. So that's a good thing. That means homes are more affordable, but there's also more homes on the market. So a seller really has to make a very, very analytical decision about, okay, I've got all this competition around me, and you can't ignore new construction. New construction home sellers make it very competitive. There's certain areas in Colorado Springs where you have to be priced very aggressively in order to compete with new construction, because I've worked with people that went and bought new construction, and they'll tell me, yeah, the builder gave me $24,000 in incentives so I could buy down my interest rate. It covered all the closing costs. It covered all the upgrades I wanted, or I could reduce the home sale price. So that's very tough competition for a resale used house seller. So you have to be made aware of everything around you. You can't just guess. And right now, 54% of home sellers are lowering their prices below what they originally thought they would get when they started on the market. Now, a majority of the real estate agents have never seen what I call challenging market. The prices are correcting just a little bit. The volume of buyers is a lot less than it was before the Fed started raising the rates in 2022. And most of the agents entered the business within the last 5 years. So they don't know what to do when a price is going down. I just received an assignment from the Secretary of Veterans Affairs to handle the sale of a property that was put up for short sale. It was showing under contract. Clearly, the agent was not paying attention because it had foreclosed a week before, but she still had the property on the market. So I think a lot of people have never seen that situation. I was in the business back in 2008 through 2012, where it was a very interesting meltdown. And at the same time, the resale sellers had a lot of problems. But even in those markets, the pretty homes sold if they were priced right, and the homes that were priced aggressively sold. So we know what to do in those markets. Not every agent does know how to do it. But at the end of the day, you got to pick somebody that, first of all, promotes the home well. So I took over a listing last year, this time, from a seller that called me and said, we don't know what's going on. We've been on the market for, I think at that time, it was like 4 or 5 months. They'd priced it really, really high. They'd walked the price down. They still didn't get an offer. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, I think what's going on is your pictures are awful. The guy had taken his smartphone, take some happy snaps where the lighting was really bad. He didn't even highlight the best features of the home. And guess what? That is your first showing. So if the agent is too cheap, I'll just use the word too cheap to spend a few $100s to appropriately market the home, you're going to get less results because your competition is doing very nice, beautiful, professional photography to attract the buyer to the house. The house itself was gorgeous. The seller had even spent the money to bring in professional staging furniture. It was a veteran. They were overseas. They brought in this professional staging furniture. It looked great in person, but the buyers never came to see it because the marketing was bad. So they hired us. We fixed it. We got it sold in 9 days for full price without any problem. It was just a marketing problem. It was amazing. And I work with a lot of what I call corporate sellers. So either investors that buy a lot of volume in the country, or like right now, one of my biggest clients is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, where because they provide mortgage insurance, which is called the VA funding fee, if for some reason the borrower does not make their payments, the lender is given money from the VA and they deed the property over to the VA if they cannot make payments, and they let it go. And unfortunately, there's more and more and more of those right now. We've had a surge of 36% of foreclosures in this county, in El Paso County. And a lot of it has to do with the veterans are coming in, they're buying homes, no money down. They're getting the VA funding fee, which is about 2 to 3% added to their loan balance to buy that home, right? And as long as their housing allowance covers the payment, they're happy. But if they have to turn around and sell it in just a few years, either they're getting a military transfer or something went sideways, guess what? There's a problem because they don't have enough equity to pay the commission, taxes, title, and at the same time, the market values have corrected a little bit, maybe 3 to 5%. So a lot of these folks don't know what to do, and they're just letting the home go. And so what happens with these, the VA asset management company, they say, okay, what do you think it will sell for now? They ask me, they ask an appraiser, they make a decision, they put it on the market. If it doesn't sell, they lower the price till they get offers. So they know exactly what it takes because they sell thousands of these across the country. And typically every 15 to 30 days, they're making a price adjustment. And I've had the asset managers, tell me, hey, you have to be my eyes and ears on the ground because we can't see this house. We don't know what's going on. And when you get a buyer that's interested, don't let them get away. So right now it's leaning more towards a buyer's market, I think, than a seller's market. And the biggest issue is price and affordability. The average income to be able to afford an average home in this market is well over $100,000 right now. The median price right now is about $520,000. So to afford a house like that, you probably have to make over $120,000 with no debt. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the show. And we're talking about what you should do if you have a home that's not selling. How can you fix this problem? And when we come back, we're going to talk about some solutions to solve just that. If you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. We have thousands of buyers just on our website looking for homes in all different price ranges. Typically, I can match over 1,000 buyers to any home with the marketing that I'm doing and market directly to those buyers to make sure that your house is put at the front of the line against the other competition. And all you need to do is call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing why a house may not be selling. So, what are some things that home sellers can do to jumpstart that and get the house selling?
Well, once you've established your housing strategy, you really want to bring in a professional to take a look at it and discuss those options with you. You could sell it as is. You could sell it for full market value. It may not need to be sold as is to an investor. Or it could be something simple. Like I helped a home seller a few months ago. Nice home down in Fountain. It was very well cared for. It was built in 1960s. It had some of the original appliances in the kitchen. The kitchen was adorable, but it was older. And they had put this, sculpted heavy carpet over the top of real hardwood floors. So I suggested to the seller, hey, any chance you could just pull that carpet and pull the carpet tack strips and, show off the hardwood floor. So that's what we did. They priced it right and we had a bidding war and it sold for $15,000 over asking price. That was just a few months ago. So you need somebody that can take a look at that and help you decide what is the best strategy to get it on the market. If you're already on the market, you have to look very carefully at your competition, what homes are going under contract and why, and what are sitting on the market, who's lowering their price. All those factors have to do with it. So, because if it's marketed price, I'm sorry, if it's marketed correctly, it's probably a price thing. And you can tell, excuse me, you can tell right away if you didn't get the pricing right based on the volume of showings. If you're getting very few showings, buyers are finding other options. If you're getting showings but no offers, then you're a little bit overpriced. And if you're getting offers, you're in the ballpark, just stay there, stay right there. Maybe you didn't have the right offer this time, but the next time you will. So it's all about pricing and how the market reacts to the marketing that was done. So if you are thinking of making a move, this is what we do week in, week out, many, many times every single week. We'd love to come by and give you tips on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, what to fix, what not to fix. I just had a meeting like that last week. And, it's simple stuff. Sometimes it can really make the difference of you getting full market value or it's sitting on the market, because buyers, most of them don't want to do any work. So give us a call, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
To your real estate voice with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to sell your house in weeks, like Carmax sells cars, plus Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss that. I like that. That's a nice little tease there. Oh,
I'm ready when you guys are.
all right. I'm good to go. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate, with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, the market has certainly changed in the last year, causing some people to wonder if their houses will sell quickly and at a good price. Many home sellers want to bet on the sure thing, a cash buyer versus selling to a buyer that needs to get a loan. How would a home seller go about that process?
Well, Richard, I have quite a few home sellers that are opting for the cash offer programs, and they're not bad offers. Some of them come in at full market value and offer a way to help the seller participate in remodeling it, but they get cashed out up front so they can move on to their next house. Then we go on to resell it, and then they get the benefit of the fixed up home once it closes the second time. So they actually get paid twice. And it's really cool. And a lot of people assume that these cash offers are like steal your equity offers, but not necessarily. They're actually pretty good. They're a little more expensive than a traditional sale, but it solves a problem for some people. I was talking to one of my home sellers recently because I was telling him that I was trying to help a home seller get his house ready for sale. And I'm having trouble getting contractors to meet me or to come through with what they say they're going to do, right? So I'll meet with them and say, all right, we want to paint this room, do this, do that. And then the day he was supposed to start working, I get this notification, oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to make this job. And I'm like, what? We burned 2 weeks, waiting for this to happen. And then they bail on me at the last minute. So that's the kind of stuff that if I'm having that kind of experience, I guarantee you consumers are having that experience well. So these investors have crews that come in and just crank it out, and they know what to do. So it's a little bit better for home sellers, especially if you have extensive repairs that need to be done. You just don't want to mess with it. They will do it. They will fund it into the cost, and it's a really good solution for a lot of folks. Have you ever sold a car to CarMax, Richard?
I have not, but my son bought one from Carmax.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. My son and my husband like doing that. And basically what they do is that you just put some data online in there, and then they give a bid. And if they like the number, they take the car down there, they evaluate it, and they just cut them a check. It's that simple. It's amazing. Versus, you know, it's if you do the traditional sales process, just to relate that, it doesn't quite happen that fast. Typically, these cash buyers can cash out in about 2 to 3 weeks. However, with Carmax, it's just really a couple of days and they're writing you a check. If you do the traditional sales process, here are the problems that a lot of home sellers really dislike. They dislike having people look at their house. They dislike having people judge their house. They dislike preparing the home for sale. They dislike having the uncertainty of the buyer bailing for some stupid reason, like some made up inspection thing that doesn't really exist by an unlicensed, unqualified inspector. All these things happen all the time. And it's very frustrating for home sellers to deal with it, right? So there's a point where they're like, I don't want to deal with this. I just want to get this done. To take advantage of this, you need to have some equity, definitely, because the costs for these are a little bit higher. But we have tons of people that opt for it. The process is simple and smooth. These people are trustworthy. They do what they say they're going to do. And the way you do this is you meet with us, we sit down, you take a look at the offers, and you have options. You could take the cash offer or one of the cash offers, or you could have them bid against each other. It's really cool. And or you have the option to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in the open market. I think I can get a little bit more doing that. But the benefits of taking a cash offer when we meet is, first of all, we sit down, we take a look at the house and go, all right, to get full market value, this is what needs to be done. What are your goals? How much do you want to net on the home to get this done? And so we've already researched what similar homes are selling for at that time. We absolutely need to take a look at the house because not every home is as we expect. And that's okay. It's not a problem. There's no judging whatsoever. We'll give you an in-home consultation on what it would take to get your home ready for full market value, what to do and what not to do to prepare the home for a live in the home type buyer, and how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. Or we give you these cash offer options, right? And so it's something very unique, and it's not just one investor. These are 6 or 7 different investors that bid for each home. We also have buyers on our cash offer platform that are looking for homes that are not on the market yet, and they've already put in their criteria. So we can market to those buyers as well. So it really makes the whole process easy. And when we meet, you don't have to have your home, what I call, show ready for the initial meeting. A lot of people worry about that. They're like, oh my God, I got a realtor coming over. She's going to judge my mess. No, you should see my mess at home. Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. What I'm looking past all that and trying to see, okay, how can we transform this to either go on the market and get live in the home type buyers to come look at the home, or maybe the cash offer buyer takes it, or buyers take it. And it's very simple. It only takes maybe, you'll give me the address. I'll come look at the home. If you decide to go with the cash offer, we actually take a lot of pictures of the house, we submit it, and these investors come back with a final offer, and you could take it or not take it. It doesn't matter. If you decide to let us handle the sale on the traditional way, we actually have 16 different marketing systems to maximize the sales price. And we use that, especially if you do the 2-step selling. The first one is just cash as is, but the second one, we go on the home and really market it for full market value. And we deploy these marketing systems to try to command top dollar for your home. And don't worry about long-term contracts. There are some agents that keep their sellers tied to long-term contracts and say, well, you sign with me, you have to wait till the contract expires. However, it's already built into the state contracts that if the agent is not performing according to what they promised, you can cancel regardless of of the deadlines, but you have to be very specific and clear about what they promised. The other thing that we do is we help prepare the home for sale. So if you're doing a traditional sale, we get you ready for photo day. And then on photo day, we take the pictures, then we take the pictures and make sure the photos look great. So that can involve maybe removing a few things that probably didn't need to be in the photo, also virtual staging, things like that. Because if your first showing is online, that is your first impression. And the buyers are making a decision as to whether or not they're even going to come see your home based on that first impression. Pricing and marketing are critical. So we do that for you, and we are the one that ends up selling it in the end if you do opt for a cash offer. We even have checklists on what you can expect. It's a very comprehensive program. The other thing we can offer along with the cash offer program on the secondary sale is something we call a certified pre-owned home program, where we provide the pre-inspection, what's been done on the inspection, and offer a warranty to the buyers, which gives the buyers confidence that they're moving into a home that's basically move-in ready, or what we use the phrase turnkey as move-in ready. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how you can sell your house for cash, just like Carmax sells homes online. And next up, we're going to cover some different cash offer programs that we bring to the actual first meeting. If you are thinking of making a move, we not only have cash buyers, but we have thousands of buyers in waiting on our websites. Typically, I can match at least 1,000 to any home. And you just give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're talking about why a home seller would consider a cash buyer versus that traditional sales process. So, Barb, tell us what motivates home sellers to seriously consider a cash buyer.
Well, it truly is the easy button, and it's fast, and there's no uncertainty. That's really the biggest part of it. I've sold homes to my investors and had a closing in 2.5 weeks. Everything went as expected. There were no surprises. It's a lot easier because you don't have to prepare your home for sale. A lot of people hate doing that. Moving is hard enough as it is, but then also doing repairs and making sure it's pretty and making sure the buyers are happy with the condition of the home. You don't have any strangers walking through your house judging your home. And there's no worry about the deal falling through. That's another part of it that happens all too often. More and more and more deals are falling apart at the inspection phase. It's gone up from like 12% to about 25% of contracts are failing over the home buyer's inspection. And some are legit and some are not. Sometimes, because in the state of Colorado, there's no license to be an inspector, these inspectors come in and scare the buyers away from the house based on really unfounded ideas. Oh, there's a drywall crack, there must be mold. You have to have a mold test. It's like, no, it's just normal wear and tear. So this is a solution where you don't have to deal with that. There are busy people that don't want to deal with the traditional sales process. They pick their closing date and they're moving on. Only our real estate company, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, Barb Has the Buyers team, provides these options for home sellers where you can either go the cash route or you can go on the traditional sales process. You get to choose. And the problem with the traditional sales process is that, buyers are pickier than ever. So you've got picky buyers, you've got less buyers to compete for. You got to pass your inspection, you got to pass your appraisal, you got to worry about the buyer's loan going through. What about repairs? I would swear that 2 out of 3 of my listings have roof problems, septic sewer lines, or crazy agent behaviors. So with a cash offer, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So if you want to find out about it and you want to get offers on your house, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on cash offer. Richard?
Barb, your favorite time, my favorite portion of the program as well, your hot new listings lightning round.
Well, I have a great home down in Fountain on 605 Birch Drive. This home has a full finished basement, 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, nice yard, and it's priced at $289,900. I have two amazing homes in Briargate, one on 8230 Camfield Circle, priced at $439,900 with an abundance of gleaming hardwood floors, granite counters, and stainless steel appliances. Great buy down in Fountain on Rancher Drive, priced at $309,500. Another really cool home down in Pueblo on East 13th Street at $349,000. This gorgeous home has an oversized, massive detached garage and a pool, believe it or not. Couple of great homes out in Rush, one of them on 2 acres priced at $374,900, and the other one on 9 acres priced at $464,900. A great home in Florissant, 25 Quiver Circle on 5 acres with 4-car garage space at $385,000. Beautiful home up in Florissant on Stevens Drive in the mid-4s with great views. And then there's a couple of other great homes. There's one on Capitol Peak Way, priced at $519,900. This is a beautiful rancher with a finished basement, 3-car garage. And a couple of more that we're going to be featuring this weekend. One on 7144 Wintry Loop, priced at $674,900. This gorgeous rancher has 4 bedrooms on the main level and a great basement. And another one on 1 acre on 7191 Ross Drive. This home has 4-car garages, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3 different living spaces, priced at $759,900. It's the perfect home that wants a great yard, RV parking, lots of space, no HOA. It has everything. Beautiful home on Zurich Drive also, and another home in Broadmoor Bluffs priced at $649,900 that backs to NORAD, as well as a great lot on Hidden Valley. To find out about all of our coming soon homes, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured properties. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That'll do it for this week, Barb. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend as well.
All right. Wow. We were picking them up and laying them down. I just had to say that. Who has the advantage in negotiations for homes for sale today? Should I prepare my house before selling it? How should I prepare my house? What do you do if your house isn't selling? What can you do to fix it? And how to sell your home fast in just a couple of weeks?
I think the negotiating one sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Headphones are off. Ouch. I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday. I just can't do that. Or do you cut it out? I can't remember. I mean, this is the promo for KBOR. But my problem is I've got from 11 until noon. Were you saying that it's going to be at 3 o'clock?
Next week.
Next week or this weekend? Should I just do it?
Next weekend.
Okay, I'll do it this way. 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, airs every Saturday from 11 until noon, right after Cudlow, here on 740 KBOR. This weekend, Barb